Okay, you guys, week 6, BK 121. We're on the last week. I know that it might not really feel like it because things are still pretty crazy right now, but trust me, we're going to make sure you guys cross the finish line. We're so close to the end. You are getting to do your last project for the pastry program. That's such a huge deal. That's a huge accomplishment. So again, I just mentioned before we started recording, but I really want you guys to have fun with it. While yes, you have to have 3 gum paste flowers on it, it has to be covered in fondant. There really aren't many other requirements. You can really design it however you'd like. I want you to design it however you'd like. It makes it really fun for me to grade them and to see them. So please have fun with it. Please don't let it be a stressor during this time. I want it to be therapeutic and a source of light for you. So today we have Deborah and Stella with us. They are from our career services team, and they're here to chat with us a little bit about what's coming up next during this time. Ladies, do you want to take it away? Introduce yourselves.
Of course. Go Deborah.
Hi everyone, my name is Deborah Mastic and I'm a career services rep and I live in Colorado.
I'm Stella, I'm a career service rep and I am based out of the suburbs of Chicago. Thanks for having us on, Chef. Do you mind if I share my screen right now?
Not at all, please.
Thank you. We wanted to come in today and speak to you all. I know a lot of students are, you guys have a lot of questions concerning externship, especially during this time. So we wanted to do a little presentation for you. And if you have questions, please type them in. I know myself or Deborah will be answering them. So feel free to, ask questions as you go. Just a little bit, keep calm and stay positive. I know there's new news every single day. Things change daily. But we want to remind you, externship will happen. It's just going to look a little different, and you have a whole team behind you. I know for the pastry, for all you guys here, some of you have me as your career service rep. Some on the East Coast have Virginia, and the West Coast have Annette. Okay, so again, we have a team. We're here to assist you. It's going to happen. It's just going to look a little bit different. And if you ever have questions and need anything, communicate with us. We are here to assist you. We're here to help you achieve your goals. I know you all want to graduate. You're so close, and we're here to help you. So what we're going to be, talking about a little bit more is different plans of actions to complete our externship, different ideas that we're going to be doing. Instead of usual business right now, like the traditional externship sites, there's going to be a lot of out-of-box options available for you all. Anything you want to add, Deborah, to this one?
Nope, you're good.
Thanks. So some out-of-box options that you're going to be hearing more of is fast casual, fast food as an option. You're still working with food, you're still prepping. They are actually considered one of the essential, stores and one of the essential groups that are still open right now. So some more of our students are going towards this avenue right now because they're still available and they're still providing hands-on training for you all. Another big one that I see a lot of my students going into are the grocery stores, the big box stores. They actually don't have a lot of change. I mean, they are actually busier now than they were ever before, except they might have some hours limited. So a lot of these stores have bakeries and a lot of our students are there, or even the deli departments. We also do have nonprofits. They're also considered an essential. So a lot of nonprofit organizations like soup kitchens do have, those commercial kitchens that you're working with. So it's, again, nonprofit, it's not paid, but you're going out there and you're getting experience. So these are just different options. There's also a lot of remote options, but you have to work with the specific sites. We don't provide remote options for you. You have to go out there and you have to work with these sites and do activities and projects for them. They're all aligned with your program learning outcomes. And you can, promote them and do remote items such as like pricing, recipe, costing. You can work on their social media. You can create a blog for them and do fun recipes and take pictures. Those are different options that are out there. We have a list of ideas that you can take to your current or even potential sites. Just ask us. We have a whole list that we can send over to you. I know I have been sending some out to my students and, Deborah as well. She's in the culinary, so she's Team Savory. We're Team Sweet. But we have ideas and we are here to help you. You just have to communicate with us. And again, if you have questions, feel free. Deborah will answer them, through messaging. So if you have an externship location right now set in place and it's ready to start in time, but something happens or your hours get limited, contact us. We have incompletes available for you that give you additional time. Also, if you are medically compromised, if there's family care issues, or you're concerned for your safety, you have to remember one thing. For us career services and all of Escoffier, your health is our #1 concern. Please let us know. We do have a leave of absence available to have your externship start at a different date in the May start instead of right now. But you have to communicate with us. Again, your health is our #1 concern. Just let us know. So what are some next steps for you all? Set up a time to talk to us. This is our email address, careerservices@escoffier.edu, or give us a call at the 855 number. Your career service rep will be reaching back out to you. We will always, reach out to you. We're pretty good about that. You can text, call, or even email us. And we'll talk to you about your unique situation, employment goals. Again, the best thing is creating a plan of action with us. We're here for you. So some best strategies I want to share with you is be persistent and act. Don't get discouraged. Things happen, but there's ways around it. We're always here to help you. Be creative. Look at volunteer and entrepreneurship opportunities that are out there. Stay connected with your career service team, and most importantly, take care of yourself and your family right now. Any questions? It is a quiet group today, isn't it, Chef?
No, everybody's sleepy. Nobody's finished their coffee yet, I guess.
I know. I mean, I'm drinking mine right now.
I know, me too. I got to be on cup 2 before I get to class. We got to fill the silence.
I know, but we just wanted to come here and just talk to you all about this and let you know that we are here for you. Just let us know if you have issues or anything arises. Again, we're here to work with you, okay? Our #1 goal, help you graduate, and most importantly, stay healthy right now during this time.
You guys sure you don't have any questions? If we let them leave and then you ask me the questions.
I just wanted to say, Annette is my career services rep, and she's already answered all my questions, and I'm sure that you guys have been busy answering everybody else's. So yeah, we appreciate you guys coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we have an amazing team, don't we? Right, Deborah? It's just,
Yeah.
we're definitely here. Just let us know.
Yep. And I just saw Stacy made a comment in the chat, about being laid off in the food service industry. So, I know you're focused on your studies right now and taking care of yourself, but with externship, we want to be proactive as much as possible. So if you already have a site and, it's closed or there's been some reduction in hours, that's where we really want to think outside of the box, like Stella said. So communicate with your site supervisor to see, are there tasks that you can do remotely, remote projects that will help them build the business or get things, back in place when things go back to normal. If you don't have a site, or maybe you've lost your site, think about your network. Do you know anyone that owns like a bakery or some other business where you could do remote work for them? So really think about your network. So again, work with your career services rep. We are here to support you. I know I work in culinary, but we still love you all. So, be as proactive as possible and come up with a plan that works for you.
Thank you for having fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone's time today. And I put the career services email at careerservices@escoffier.edu in the chat. You can always contact us that way, and we will get you right to your rep.
And it does look like we have one more question, Rebecca.
Mine's not so much a question as I wanted to just kind of put out there, I wanted to tell Stella, thank you very much for all my phone calls that she's been dealing with. And, you know, Deborah was talking about out of the box. Stella and I are doing an way out of the box, are we not?
Here's the box here.
Yeah, we're way up in the sky, but we're going to get there. We have lots of help and supports. So
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yes, thank you. We're definitely there for you, and we're going to all get through this together, okay?
All right. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you, Chef.
Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
Bye, guys.
Hi, you guys. So I don't mean to make you feel like you have to be super positive and shiny and act like everything's great right now. I know how serious this is. I've mentioned that in some of the videos that I've posted and in some of my messaging to you. And I need you guys to know that my heart is I want to be there for you as best I can. I know how serious it is. One of my coping mechanisms is being positive and silly. It helps me feel a little less sad and a little less worried. And so I hope that that doesn't make you feel like I'm making light of any of your situations, because I know how serious it is. I'm just trying the only way that I know how to help us get through it. So please know that I don't mean to minimize any of your feelings or what any of you are going through. I absolutely know that it's a big, tough situation right now. And there are a lot of unknowns. So on that topic, again, please reach out to Career Services. Even if you have no clue, even if after that speech you're like, I literally have no idea what I'm going to do, reach out to your Career Services rep, because they've got 20 ideas. They are going to help, and it is their job to make sure that we get you through this next part. So they're not going to give up on you. We're not going to give up on you. We don't want you guys to give up. Like they said, there are options for even starting at a later time, because like Stacy mentioned, right now it just seems like there aren't a lot of options based on dealing with life, making sure that your family is safe and taken care of, and we understand that completely. So just know that we're going to work with you as absolutely best we can, and keep reaching out to me with issues and concerns. So next thing I want to talk about, I sent out a message yesterday, or maybe the day before, Monday, about the 30 days that we're going to have after this class ends, right? So that's absolutely true. We have that 30 days. You guys, I'm going to open up any and all makeup work. Any assignment that you want to make up that you might not have been able to complete, I'm taking advantage. So I'm not just opening up the second half. I'm opening up them all, okay, you guys? I want to set you up for success. So assignments can be made up during that time. All knowledge checks can be done. Remember, if you scored low on a knowledge check, it takes the highest score. But if it is an old knowledge check, you have to let me know once you've retaken it, because I have to manually update the grade in the grade book. So the message that I sent out to you has instructions. So if you update a discussion forum, if you update a knowledge check, if you update a conversion check, or you update an old assignment or need an old assignment open, you have to send me a message either on the class page or an email, sort of outlining what's finished and what you need to turn in. That way I can open it, I know what needs to be graded, I can make sure you get grades for all your hard work. If you go into, let's say, for example, the week 3 discussion forum right now and you post, I won't get a notification that tells me you did so. So you have to let me know you did so I can go in and give you points for it, okay? Does that make sense? Any questions about that, the 30-day period? No.
All quiet here.
Okay.
Hey, Chef.
Yes.
I'm asking again because this is, like I said, this is kind of like really mind-boggling right now. Okay, now what you were just saying was that we have to wait till after this class to go on ahead and turn our submissions in, or?
No. You can start right now.
Start
You
now.
can absolutely start as soon as possible. I just meant you will have an additional 30 days after this class to continue to turn in any makeup work that you might have missed. But you can
Okay,
start.
because just recently the store started getting in eggs and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yep. Nope. You can start as soon as you are able to, and then we have that additional 30 days. And again, you guys, I can't stress it enough. I am on your team. Trust me. I want to let you guys submit this work. I want us to get it in, get things done, to have fun, to get through this together. So many of you have already reached out with me with some ingredient issues, and I've given you some alternatives. We've got time, and yeah, I know it's tough, but I want it to be fun, because cake decorating can be super fun even if you don't love cakes. Like I said, that Super Mario cake, one of the reasons that was our theme is because some of my teammates didn't really care about pretty white flowery wedding cakes. They wanted to do something a little more fun. I mentioned that in some of your feedbacks already for this week, that as you continue to practice with fondant and gum paste decorations, I really hope you practice some sculpting, whether it's little animals or little people or faces or all sorts of stuff. Sculpting is one of my favorite things to do with fondant. It takes practice. I'm still not very great at sculpting my I would say I can sculpt cartoony figures. Sculpting realistic things, not so much, but I'm working on it. But yeah, it's fun and therapeutic, and you can have a piece of practice fondant that you just practice with and then smush back into a plastic bag and keep moist so that you can keep practicing with it. So yeah, I want to hear now about flowers this week. Crystal says she didn't love roses as much. Yeah, totally understand. I love flowers just because I think they're so pretty and delicate, but I also love logos and superheroes and kid shows. I love kid cakes. Gosh, I love kids. I love kids, so naturally, I just think kids cakes are super fun. Anybody else? What do you guys think about gum paste fondant decorations? Do you like flowers? Did you try something else? Do you want to try something else? Crystal says she loves kids' cakes. What about you, Francis?
I found it to be very relaxing making the flowers.
Yeah.
I'm actually I finished my externship hours already, so she allowed me to make flowers for the shop for them because they buy them. They don't make them in the shop. So.
That's awesome. Shannon, what about you?
I actually didn't mind doing the flowers and the leaves, so it was fun to work with.
Willie says he's loving the roses. Paula says she loves kids' cakes. Did anybody do any experimenting with royal icing this week? It wasn't required, so nobody panic. No royal icing required here next week. Don't worry, just curious. Paula says not yet. I know you guys are busy, and of course it's not like you guys have a bunch of spare ingredients. So again, no expectation there. But I do hope in the future you get the chance to, because I love royal icing. Willie says, unfortunately, not yet. No worries. Sissy says, can't wait to try, or Crystal says, working with gum paste is fun. You guys are super chatty in the chat, and I'm not going to complain. I love it. Keep it going. I'm just reading out loud. Oh, I got to change from my Brady Bunch squares. I'm so sorry about that, by the way. So to those of us who are going to be watching the archive, I accidentally had it set to Brady Bunch squares, but now it's set to speaker view so that you can see us talking. Who the speaker. All right, you guys. Well, we don't have too much to talk about this week. Do you have any questions before I give a little recap about constructing your cakes for week 6? Any questions about your frosting? Has anybody already started stacking? run into any issues?
I do have a quick question concerning the cookies.
Absolutely.
The cookies that Chef Erica had, were they the recipe from our book or?
Actually, so I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not sure if that's the recipe, but I promised you guys, we're not going to play Jeopardy today. COVID happened in between my Jeopardy promise and this, and it's been craziness. So a positive is that instead of just giving the winner my secret sugar cookie recipe, I'm going to share it with all of you because you have been a group I've worked with for so long. We worked together in 201, a super long 12 weeks. You guys have made me super proud in this class. I know these past couple of weeks have been so hard. So yeah, it would make me happy to share this with you guys. However, keep it secret. Don't share it with everybody and their cousin, okay? I trust you guys with the sugar cookie. Now, I'm not saying you can't share it with anybody. You can share it with people that you want to. But it is one that is tried and true for me. So let me share my screen. Nothing about it is very fancy. 1.5 pounds, that's what this little number symbol is. And I will post it in our class announcements as well as our class cafe. So you don't have to write it down right now if you don't want. I'll post it later today. Sugar, lemon, lime, or orange zest. I like to use orange a lot. I just like the smell. I love lemon too. Lime is fun in the summertime, but I use it much less. 4 eggs, teaspoon vanilla extract, depending on the customer. Excuse me. I might include a little bit of almond extract, but these days with nut allergies, usually people want to avoid nuts altogether, so most of the time just vanilla. 12 cups AP flour, a tablespoon baking soda, 2 teaspoons salt, and then 1 1/4 cups sour cream at the end. This is the game changer ingredient in this cookie. So whenever you have a chemical leavener, you guys might remember this from BK 101 from the very beginning, you want an acid of some sort to help balance out that metallic flavor that comes alongside chemical leaveners like baking soda and baking powder. So sour cream is that acid in this recipe. That while the zest is a little bit of acid, it's not enough to really do the counteracting that we need it to do. And then it's a basic creaming recipe, except that you add your sour cream at the very end. So creaming your butter, sugar, adding your eggs, vanilla, adding your baking soda and salt to your flour, mixing together, adding your flour in, then sour cream. Super straightforward recipe. The only thing is, definitely needs to be chilled. So I like to chill it for a couple of hours, but not super cold. Then what I do is I roll it out, cut out my cookies, and then I freeze them. And then I bake them from frozen, and that keeps my cookies from spreading almost at all, which for a sugar cookie decorator is an important element, because when I'm cutting out my shapes, I usually need them to be a pretty specific shape, so I don't want them to change too much in the oven. So that's the method that I like to use. Chill my dough for a couple of hours, cut out those cookies, freeze them. However, I have also kept the dough chilled overnight, rolled it out when it was firm in the morning, cut out my cookies. I'll probably still throw them in the fridge at least for a few minutes after I've cut them out, just so that the dough is nice and cold before going in the oven. But you can do it either way. And the dough can definitely be frozen for at least a month or so. So I have also doubled this batch. I've tripled that batch. I've quadrupled that batch and had success every time, which isn't the case with all recipes. There are some recipes that when you try and double it, it just won't work. It won't happen. So yeah, I love this recipe. It is was given to me by one of my chefs when I was a pastry student under the same, not the same circumstances, but the same, here's my secret recipe. I'm trusting you with it. use it wisely. And this cookie has brought me a lot of success and luck, you guys. So, and passion and motivation. So, Kyle says he has a family secret recipe for sugar cookies. Love that. So does, so every year we have family friends that we, eat dinner with at the holidays. All of these families, of all the families, all of us are grown up. None of us are kids anymore. So it's just a bunch of adults. And one lady, her name is Ann Baldwin. She lives across the street from my parents, makes sugar cookies that are to die for, that my mom loves. And it's because they're filled with almond extract. And my mom doesn't realize that she loves almond extract so much. But the thing about Ann Baldwin is she will happily share the recipe with you. However, she does not give you the real recipe. She shared the recipe with me. I followed her recipe. I was like, these are trash. This is not the right cookie. So then I asked her, can I come over and watch you make the cookies? And when I did that, that's when I learned the real. So now my recipe has a ton of notes where it says, don't do 4 cups. Actually, it's like 16 cups. And don't do 2 teaspoons. It's actually 1 teaspoon. There were quite a few adjustments I made after watching her make that. But let's see here. Crystal says, are these the kind that get stiff? My favorite sugar cookies don't, but they are not good with royal icing. These cookies, depends on how you bake them. So this is something that I still experiment with, depending on how far ahead I have to make the cookies. I like a softer cookie, a cookie with some chew. I don't like a super crunchy cookie. I would tell you that most cookies you see on Instagram, most really intricate sugar cookies, are stiff cookies, are firm, crunchy cookies, most sugar cookies that you see. And one of the reasons is just that sometimes they take 3 to 4 days to finish decorating. So you want to bake a cookie off that's a little crispy to begin with, because sometimes the softer cookies get stale a little more quickly or have a more stale texture. I like to bake them a little softer. What I look for when I bake this cookie is color, just the slightest bit of color around the edge of the bottom of the cookie. Let me get a visual here for us. So if this is my cookie, this book, and this bottom is on the pan, I look for color right along the very edge of the cookie that's touching the pan. Just the slightest golden brown. Usually, to me, that means the cookies are about ready. I would say it takes maybe anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes for me, depending on what rack they're on. And I like to bake at 325, which can take longer, but my cookies don't overbake so easily, and the bottoms don't get too dark so quickly. I have to let my cookies cool for longer because that means they are softer. But yeah, that's what I look for. If you've got color on the top of these sugar cookies, they've been baked for too long. They should stay pretty blonde. Is that helpful, Crystal? Awesome.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So with our cakes, I found some cherry syrup at King Arthur Flour that I wanted to try. And I'm going to make a simple syrup and add that. How much should you brush on the cake to get a good flavor?
Sure, that's a good question. I am pretty generous with simple syrups, but it also depends on how moist your cake is already. So let's say you did a creaming method cake and it's already pretty moist. I would say I would probably tap my brush with the syrup on the top. Whereas if you have a cake that's maybe a little drier, I would dip my brush and give it a generous coat on the top layer. But you don't need to soak it like you would your baba rum. That would be way too much because this cake doesn't have any yeast in it. It's not going to be able to withstand that much moisture. So either dabbing on top. Somebody's trying to call me during class. So yeah, either dabbing on top, just light dabbing, if your cake is already pretty moist, or a decent brush on top, but just like one brush per section is plenty.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Hi,
Any
Chef.
more?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So you said that you have doubled your recipe, tripled your recipe for your sugar cookie. Now, are you using baker's math, or are you just?
Nope, that's the beauty of that recipe. You'll notice that it was in standard measurements, cups and teaspoons. And yeah, no, I do not. That's me being fully transparent with you guys. I do not use my baker's math to double that recipe. I just do it good old fashioned ×2, ×3, and
Cool.
that. Yep.
I'm curious 'cause I do that with mine too. Like I've if I needed just like, I don't know, like a dozen more, and I'm like, gosh, I want to make like a full batch, I will just add an extra stick of butter, an extra 2 cups of flour. Like I was just curious if you actually use baker's math, or you're just.
I do depending on the recipe. So like I have a banana bread recipe. That is an example of one that if I just try and ×2 it, the recipe is not successful for me. And part of it is because I live at a high elevation. So by doubling it, I end up adding too much chemical leavener in that quick bread, because there's much more chemical leavener in it than there is in the sugar cookie recipe. But so yeah, there are recipes that I do have to use my baker's math begrudgingly, because it's not my favorite thing to do either. But so there are some recipes that, excuse me. You guys, it's a bad time to have allergies. I was at the grocery store the other day and I sneezed, and whoosh, just people scattered away from me. I said, it's allergies, I promise.
I have another question. So I use orange zest in my recipe also.
Yep.
And do you disclose, like, to your customers or whoever's buying your sugar cookies that you put orange zest in? Because I don't. And for the first time in like over a year, I had someone ask me, she's like, is there like orange or citrus or something in your cookies? And I'm like, oh yeah, I use a little bit of orange zest, which I actually use a lot. It's like a tablespoon.
Right.
And she was like, oh, well, for the next time, can you just leave it out? And I was like, oh, sure. And I've never had anybody complain about it before, but I don't disclose it. I don't even have it on my labels, and I'm wondering if I should.
Right. Well, you should include it in your labels. You definitely want to make sure your label includes all ingredients. Some people will really get up in arms about that. So that's just a sort of protect yourself thing. I would say, here's the thing. I've sold cookies out of a case, out of the front of a shop, and private orders. I would not necessarily disclose it for my case cookies. Like if a customer were coming in and I had cookies in the case and they were like, is that a sugar cookie? I wouldn't be like, yeah, it has orange zest in it though, so be prepared for it. With a private order, I think I 99% of the time, if I didn't, I forgot, tell them or ask them. I usually ask them their preference in the beginning. I say, I like to add zest to these cookies. Would you prefer lemon, lime, or orange? And most of the time they say, I don't have a preference. Like you said, usually people don't complain. But every once in a while they do. And some people who ask no zest, I will often ask, do you like almond? Do you want almond extract? And we work from there. But yeah, I would say include it on your labels just to be safe. And then with your orders, even that customer that said that didn't like the zest wasn't that upset about it. She just said leave it out next time. So it's up to you. It sounds like it doesn't seem like a major issue. Robert, do you have a question?
No, I'm just sorry I got in so late.
Oh,
sorry.
No problem. Just glad you made it.
Okay.
Paula says, can you substitute something else with the zest? Yeah, you could use a little bit of extract, like a little lemon extract, or even a little lemon juice, a little lime juice. If not, you don't need much of it. It's a bit more concentrated than the zest. But I also think the zest is more aromatic than an extract. After you bake off an extract, the smell is really strong while those cookies are still warm, and in the oven, but then you notice that it starts to like fade a little bit, and you really have to hold that cookie up to smell the vanilla. Whereas I feel like the zest, kind of like an essential oil, sort of radiates that smell a little bit more, which is one of the reasons that I really like it. Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to read the chat as we go along here. Has anybody started designing their cake? Anybody got any cool ideas? Terry asked, is there a requirement on the flowers? The requirement is that there be at least 3. Any size though. You can have 1 big one and 2 tiny ones. You can have 3 tiny ones. I don't care. Paula says, in your head, you've got your design. Terry asked, does it have to be roses? No, I would like to see at least 1 rose, but if you didn't do any roses, no biggie. Make sure that they're flowers that took, you know, oh, you made 18. Awesome. Wendy, do you have a question? Nope.
No.
All right. Crystal says, struggling with design because all of your visions have no flowers. Has anybody tried, oh, Terry, do you have a question? Go ahead.
I do. So I decided to go big or go home, right?
Yeah.
So I decided, hey, I'm going to make like 4 layers. It's going to be a huge, massive cake. And I decided on this before I watched the video of putting together the cake. And it's funny because it's basically similar to what Jeff did in the video, my design. Except for the bead, it's not going to have beading, it's going to be the shells. So I think that'll look better.
I can't wait to see it. Paula says, going to make some molds of different things with fun and gum paste. Going to make molding chocolate. Fun, love that. Crystal, for your designs with no flowers, maybe consider putting 3 flowers on the top, taking a picture, and then taking the flowers off and designing the cake however you want. If you include those flowers on the cake in one picture, then that means I can give you the grade for that, and then you can design the cake however you want after that and take pictures. Does that help at all? Yes? Good. Paula says, you did a boo-boo. I put my dowels in before putting on my fondant. Is that okay? Totally fine, Paula. Any more questions about stacking? Stacking cakes always makes me nervous, you guys.
I do have a question, but it's not basically the cake itself.
That's fine, Billy. Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
One of the roses, I'm not sure if what they call the stem, or the piece you're supposed to stick in the rose. It may be too heavy. The rose itself may be too heavy, and it actually fell off the stem last night.
Okay, so a couple of things you can do here. One is start out doubling up your stems. So having a couple more stems layered up and taped together to begin with. So starting with a thicker base like that. Then the other thing you can do, if you're making a really big flower, is after you've got your first few layers of petals on that small base, start putting petals on individual wires. And then at the end, you can tape all of those wires together and sort of shift the petals around, similar to the peony video that we watched in class. So you can double up wires to begin with, or triple up wires to begin with if you're making a big flower. And then you can also start putting individual petals on their own wire. And then once they're a little bit more dry, you can tape those wires together to form your flower. Does that make sense, Willie?
She can't hear you. Yes, it does.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Let's see here. Rebecca says her flowers came off her wires. I don't typically poke mine into a sponge that often if I've already got my whole flower formed. I'd often set them in something like a bowl or a cup of some kind, some sort of like vessel to hold my flower. Once I've reached like a full flower stage, I usually only use the sponge for early stages, like the bud stages. Rebecca asked, can she reapply the wire? Yes, definitely. Remember that the gum paste flowers aren't going to be eaten, so you can, any way you can get that sucker on there with food safe ingredients, which you can reach out to me for. Sissy says she tried to make a tulip with putting the leaves on individual wires. It was very difficult to tape them together. That part is hard. Something that I like to do is make my fingers a little sticky, which normally I try and avoid because I hate feeling sticky. But when I have slightly sticky fingers, so let's say you like maybe dip them in your gum paste glue, or you got a little corn syrup on them or something that makes them a little sticky, makes it easier for me to like use individual fingers as tools. So let's say that this is my gum paste wire and my fingers are sticky. If my fingers are sticky, I can press the wire to my finger and it will stay in place. And so then I can use my other fingers to sort of maneuver the other wires. I can use my left hand to tape because it's sticking to my fingers on my right hand. So that's something that has helped me glue those wires together, because I totally get what you're saying, Sissy. It is difficult to get them separately together. Let's see here. Kyle said he forgot to secure his top layer, so it was sliding all over, then it almost dropped. Hopefully it didn't. Crystal, you said you can't get your class videos to work. Is anybody else having issues with the class videos? No? Robert, can you use the mousse from a few weeks back? So I wouldn't, just because it's expired. Mousse doesn't last that long, that many weeks, and keep well. But you can use the same mousse recipe if you want. I'm fine with that. You can cover your cake in mousse, although it would need to be probably close to frozen again before you could cover it with fondant, just because mousse is so soft. Any other questions, you guys? We're getting closer to the end here. I'm not going to make you stay too long if you don't have too much, because again, I know you guys have tons going on and you've got lots to figure out. Nothing? You're going to cover the fondant with mousse? You don't want to do that. Your fondant needs to be on the exterior of the cake. Paula says thinking of marbling her fondant. You can do that. There's tons of cool fondant techniques out there. I do love chocolate mousse as well. Sheree says it's her favorite, one of her favorite fillings. Did I tell you guys the story of the family that I nannied for, and the wealthy mom who grew up rich had never had chocolate pudding? She had only ever had chocolate mousse, which I thought was so funny because I had never had mousse until I was in pastry school. I'd only ever had chocolate pudding. Kyle gave a good tip for marbling, which is be careful rolling it out and kneading it too much, because then your colors will continue to blend when you roll it out. Remember that too with your fondant, you guys, this week. Well, a couple of things. We talked a lot about fondant and stacking in our week 5 live session. So if you weren't, or last week, yeah, week 5. So if you weren't able to watch that archive yet, it's still up. You still have access to it. Check it out, because we really dived deep into the week 6 requirements last week. Let's see here. Remember with fondant, if it's looking a little cracked or dried out, it might need to simply to be kneaded more. You have to work that dough. The heat from your hands and working that dough on your countertop is really going to help smooth it out. There's no possible way to over knead your fondant. Maybe over blend your colors, sure, but there's no possible way you're ever going to over mix that fondant or over knead that fondant like with bread. So yeah, if it's feeling maybe a little dry, keep kneading it on the countertop, and I'm positive it will continue to smooth out. Oh, Francis asked a great question. How much icing should be on the cake before you lay the fondant on it? I also sent this out in the message, in one of the messages that I've sent you guys. I think the amount is a happy medium between a crumb coat and a final coat. So we've done a thin crumb coat, and then I've had you guys put a generous second coat on. So somewhere in the middle between those two, you need a little more than a crumb coat, because remember that a lot of people, myself included, peel off the fondant. They don't eat the fondant. So you want enough frosting that there's still a nice flavor pairing with your cake even after they've peeled off the fondant. You don't want too thick a layer of frosting, because if it cools down too much, that fondant can start to slide around a little bit more, and it's a little less stable. So a happy medium in between that second generous coat and a crumb coat. I would say like a 1/4 inch, probably. More questions? These are good, you guys. I'm never gonna let you go, actually. I just realized it's the last one. Oh no, I'm gonna start crying.
Jeff, is this a short week? Like, is it due on Sunday or Tuesday?
It is due Sunday. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Francis. So Sunday, 11:59 p.m. CST is when your final project is due, like the closing in previous classes. I do not want you to panic if something happens. Again, because we have that sort of extension period. Now, it's not a normal extension. That's the thing. That's the other thing I want you to know, is that I still have to close the class when it ends. So I still have to like pass on grades, but in that 30 days, as you turn in work, I will submit paperwork called change of grade so that I can update your grade. So you might see a 0 or a lower grade in the meantime if you've missed something and you haven't had a chance to make it up. Oh, or if for some reason you can't make the Sunday deadline, know that you'll still have some time to make that up, but you might see a 0 at first or a lower grade at first, and then it will get updated once we do the change of grade paperwork. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Awesome, awesome. I'm mad this class was only 6 weeks too, Willie. I'm also sad. I really am sad. You guys, it's a bittersweet for me because I've worked with this group for a really long time, and you guys have made me really proud. You have been so fun to work with. You've submitted some really beautiful work that's blown some of my work out of the water, work that's inspired me to get in the kitchen and learn new things, especially during this craziness. So many of you have reached out to me to check in on me and the staff, and you've just checked in on each other. That's something else that I need to thank you guys for, is the support that you have given each other. It's something that I couldn't expect or ever ask of you, and I just think the kindness that I've seen shared between you guys is incredibly touching, and again, I learned from it, and it's humbling, and I'm just really grateful to have worked with you guys. I don't say it to every group, but I really mean it, and I am so excited to see your continued success. I know I've got a bunch of superstars here who are going to make Escoffier proud. Okay, you guys. Well, that's all I've got for you. Anything else for me before I let you go? And remember, I'm still here all week, here to answer questions. I'll post some more videos in class announcements. I've been posting some of my house projects, just trying to keep things fun. Okay, you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all of your hard work. I can't wait to check out your cakes.
Thank you.